Here is Major Gregory Keene to continue the story of the deadly NightShade.
Here in the cells of this police station, I'm just beginning to realize the breadth and scope of someone's arrangements to put an end to the search for Bruno Kesselring. When I say someone, I mean, of course, Felix Huberman. But who else? You all know about the arrival of Inspector Murray at the house in Tableau Street and the dead body of Charlie Brett. And you know how Huberman came along to the cells and told Murray he'd never seen me before in his life. Well, there were still holes for me to escape through at that stage, but one by one they're closing up. Huberman has rung someone in for me, and Inspector Murray is convinced of two things. One, that I couldn't possibly be Gregory Keene. Two, that I'm as crazy as a man could be. Just listen to it.
Here, in this town, Rice, they don't make you an inspector overnight. I've been a cop for a long, long time. I didn't think there was anything new for me on the earth or in the heavens above it, till I struck you.
What about Carlotta Magnani?
Come on, you tell me. I like listening to you. I only wish I could cook the story up the way you do.
Carlotta Magnani lives in a very large, very modern house over on the North Shore somewhere.
Oh, that's common knowledge. She's quite a celebrity.
I could describe her house.
So could I. There was an issue of one of those house and garden magazines almost devoted to it. You know, a swimming pool coming through one wall of the house, a sun deck with a tree growing up through it, disappearing glass partitions, a built-in aquarium.
But I was taken out there 3 nights ago by Felix Huberman. I was introduced as Major Gregory Keene. What do you say to that?
Not a thing.
Why?
Because I've been talking to Madame Magnani, and in about half an hour we're going over the bridge for a word with her.
We?
Mm-hmm. She's not the sort of person you can drag into a police station. We have to go to her.
Good. And I'm not done for yet. Then there's Miss Evelyn Chandler.
We'll tackle her when we've seen what Madame Magnani makes of you.
And what about the airport clerk, Dobie?
I'm going to see Dobie now. You may as well know, Rice, you're nothing but a pest. With 3 murders to look into this week, with a department short-handed to the very deuce, with odd types from Europe flooding into the country settling their differences with knives, I have to run about like a blue-bottle fly checking on your ridiculous fiction.
My heart is breaking. With only my neck at stake, how could I put you to all this trouble?
I don't know, Rice. I really don't know. It's quite outside the bounds of possibility. Face it yourself. We walked into that house and found you with the newly murdered body of Charlie Brett. The gun he was killed with was your gun. We checked at the Poinsettia Club. You were talking to Brett at the bar the night he was beaten up, and you gave him some money.
I've told you why he was beaten up.
And it makes no more sense than anything else you told us. You say you're Gregory Keene and you stayed with Huberman. Yet nothing you said about Huberman's house was right. And Gregory Keene himself is there right now with his credentials all vouched for. You said yourself to begin with that you were Sammy Rice, and your prints and pictures are on our files as Sammy Rice's. So what in the name of fortune's the use of keeping your story up?
Go and ask the fellow Dobie at the airport.
I'm leaving right now. Normally you smoke a good deal, don't you?
Yes.
Well, grab these, confound you. And if you're asked, don't say you got them from me.
That's right, madam. Flight 126 in an hour and 20 minutes overdue and expected at 2:35. Yes, sir?
Mr. Dobie?
That's right.
I'm Detective Inspector Murray. I should like a word with you. Is there an office we could use for 5 or 10 minutes?
Well, yes. Just a minute, Inspector. Take over for me, will you, Mick? Won't be long.
Sure.
This way, Inspector. After you.
Thanks. Now then, I want you to look closely at this photograph. Tell me if you've ever seen that man here at the airport. Well?
I don't recognize it.
You're sure?
Yes. I've never seen him in my life.
That man describes himself as a Major Keene. He swears that he came here one day, introduced himself to you, and made some inquiries about a Professor Bruno Kesselring. Did he?
No one's ever asked me about a Professor anyone.
You've absolutely never seen this man Keene?
Never.
A man's life may depend on you telling the truth.
What in the world would I lie for?
You were on duty at the front desk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon of last Tuesday.
I'm there 5 days a week. The reception desk is my job.
All right. No need to get worked up. Look here. Have you ever heard of a man called Sammy Rice?
No.
Or Gregory Keene?
I've told you no.
All right. Thanks very much, Mr. Dobie. That's all. But one thing. What are you frightened of?
I'm not frightened of anything. I don't know what you're talking about, and I've never seen or heard of anyone called Keene or Rice or anything else. I can't tell you a thing. Can you understand that? Nothing.
Very well. I won't hold you up any longer. But if you should remember anything you've forgotten right now, get in touch with me at once. Police headquarters.
Felix, there is still one person I'm not happy about.
And who's that?
Evelyn Channel.
Oh, she's convinced that she was mistaken at first. She agrees it's impossible for Nicky Barnes not to be Gregory Keene.
If I were Evelyn Channel, no amount of logic or reasoning would make me change my mind.
I think you might elaborate that a little, Carlotta.
Keene sat in her flat, first threatening her, then explaining his attitude, then showing her Mike Guzik and the others out in the street, then telling her why he was going to attack Manuel Torres.
So what, for heaven's sake?
She sees nothing more of Keene for 3 days. Then she's suddenly confronted with Nicky Barnes. She knew at once he was not the same man, and she stuck to it.
Not when Nicky repeated all the things they'd talked about. Not when I told her how Nicky turned up at my house 30 minutes after leaving her. Oh, I admit she was completely nonplussed, but she's perfectly happy about it now. I should know.
Should you, Felix?
The girl can hide nothing from me. It's just as well.
She is still our weakness. Why take any further risks with her?
There is no risk.
There would be none if she met with an accident.
No accident, however convincing, would satisfy Fentress in London. Not after Maxim and Rupert Boys in Singapore. Why couldn't we kill Keene outright and be done with it? The same things apply to Evelyn Channel.
MI5 in London would be satisfied if the account of her accident came from Gregory Keene.
Carlotta, we're not getting rid of Evelyn Channel.
Couldn't you bear the thought of her dying? That's all that prevents you disposing of her. These specious reasons of yours mean less than nothing. You want her to live because you want her to love.
If you must be jealous of someone, surely you can do better than that, Evelyn. I'm getting sick and tired of these perpetual frenzies over the girl. She leaves me completely cold.
Would you deny she is beautiful? She is exquisite. You cannot fault her looks or her figure.
Neither can you fault hundreds of other girls of her age and nature. What the devil's plain beauty to me? You could line up 50 girls like her, and I couldn't tell them apart.
Till one of them kissed you, and you'd know it wasn't Evelyn's kiss.
I won't listen to you. You work yourself into a passion and then try to convince yourself there's something to get impassioned about. You feed on your own rages. If there was no Evelyn Channel, you'd dig up someone else to scream about.
But it's true. Tell me, it is true, isn't it, Felix? You do love her.
I don't give tuppence for her.
Then send Guzik one night before the police pay her too much attention.
No. We'd be making a very devil of a mistake. I won't argue and argue and argue with you.
One thing only I will not endure. I am Carlotta Magnani. There is no man alive I cannot own if I so wish. And when I choose someone as I have chosen you, Felix, I will not be supplanted ever.
Do you want me to grow tired of you, Carlotta?
Do you think you could? And live?
You're confusing me with the rest of our Nightshade people.
I am confusing you with no one.
Jealousy one can accept. Jealousy for its own sake I find unendurable. I know of no better way to kill love, so let's have no more of it. Now listen.
It's a police car.
Is Murray alone?
There are 3 men with him. One of them is Gregory Keene.
Listen, when they come in, watch Keene like a hawk. He's putting up a better fight than I expected. Murray likes the fellow against his will, and Keene's keeping his head. So watch every word and every gesture. I'll get out of sight. Let me know when they've gone.
Good afternoon, madam. It's very good of you to see us. This is Sergeant Elliot and Constable Paul.
How do you do, gentlemen? I must admit one seldom receives officers of the police, so what can I do for you?
As I explained to you on the telephone, this man here, Sammy Rice, claims to have visited you in the company of Felix Huberman.
But that is an odd thing for him to say.
Is it true?
But I have never seen him before in my life.
When I was here 2 nights ago, I went with you up onto your sun deck. I could have kissed you, but I didn't. You were wearing Germaine Montaille number 7. Am I right?
Really? Really, Inspector, is the creature saying?
Well, why not take me up on it, Murray? See if her boudoir contains any Germaine Montaille perfume.
He puts me in a difficult position, madam.
And me too. I am wearing Germaine Montaille this minute. What extraordinary perception for perfumes he must have. Oh, but examine my rooms by all means.
If you're wearing that particular perfume now, madam, it's not necessary. I only wish to know if Rice was ever in your house before.
Never.
Not as Major Gregory Keene?
Not unless his height, his face, his coloring, and everything about him has changed in 2 days.
What do you mean by that?
2 evenings ago, I did entertain a Major Gregory Keene with Felix Huberman. He was charming. I took quite a fancy to him. But this creature I do not like at all, so take my assurances, Inspector, and get him out of my house. This man has never been here before. This man is not Major Gregory Keene.
One by one, the chances of escape are closing. First Huberman, then Dobie, now Carlotta Magnani. Only Evelyn Channel remains. Perhaps I'd better not count on her either. So I have to escape under my own steam or not at all. And this minute, while we're crossing the bridge in the police car against a stream of oncoming traffic, with an electric train overtaking us on the right, perhaps this is a moment that won't come again. So get set, Molly, and your sergeant and your other chap. Get set and good luck to you, because in about 5 seconds there's going to be the most unholy crash you ever saw. And if there's any other way out, someone show me.
Does Keene escape from the police while crossing the harbor bridge? Listen for the next chapter in this story of intrigue, Deadly Nightshade.